Darken has your number. I know because I'm buff, but Darken has the stuff.
Wrestling fans, what's going on? My name is Darken Graves, and if I look a little different to you right now, it's because I'm hooked up to a 3-day-long EEG machine measuring my brain waves because I suffer from grand mal seizures, which is the reason why I hadn't been able to get part 2 of this podcast out so quickly. But I wanted to come to all of you and say thank you for watching the first part. I implore you to watch this second part. I mean, we're going to me and Bill dig deep into the annals and the anuses of professional wrestling. I mean, there's theories on why Mike Awesome committed suicide. Rest in peace. There's theories, or maybe they're not theories, about why El Gigante had trouble getting it in. All this and much more. Why wasn't Rob Van Dam ever ECW World Heavyweight Champion? Whatever happened to the video game? Fonzie, were you on the video game? You'll all find it out in just a few short moments. Because no machine is going to keep this unholy icon away. Unholy am I, I'm Darken Graves, forever your savior to the end of all days. I want to say a special thank you to Doug for setting this up. An extra special thank you to the man who calls it right down the middle, Daddy. The manager of champions, Fonzie. Bill ALSONSO. Thank you, my friend. Enjoy.
This is the sinister minister, Father James Mitchell, here to let the wrestling world know that I've gotten wind of something unholy. Specifically, the terrifying return to wrestling of the unholy icon, Darken Graves, and unfortunate you all shall be.
And well, it is I, the lyrical miracle, the sexual, intellectual, the cunning linguist, and the quintessential stud muffin, Joel. I told your mom I prefer her hairless, so that's why she shaves. And also she does it because she's in the cemetery gates with the unholy icon, Darken Graves, Gertner. And for your podcast listening pleasure, after you've had yourself an eargasm, downloading and listening to my 69-minute eargasm, after you've experienced the extreme with me and Blue Meanie and Josh Chernoff on That Was Extreme, make sure that you download and listen to Enter the Cemetery Gates with the unholy icon, Darken Graves. Listen to that podcast, or else you're not listening to podcasts. Well.
because you think you stand a chance against Darken Graves. Get real.
I lost you for a minute, kid.
Yeah, that's
Sorry about that. I don't know what
no,
you
that's
were saying.
fine.
So where were we? Where were we? Because I had a good story.
We was talking about barely legal.
Okay, yeah. So who knew that there was
Right.
a demand for the hardcore shit, and we became fucking really good people who adapted to the ECW style, and they're still talking about us today. It's been 20 something years. You know what I mean?
With all due respect to Vince, I'll bet you he was, when he saw the product, he was thinking, I wish I would have thought of that first.
Well, Vincent like us. Vincent like us. Who was a big fan of ECW was Shane McMahon. Shane
Right.
loved ECW. You know, he's a younger guy, and Vince is old school and all that. But Vince gave us $1 million, lend ECW $1 million to keep going, because we were always in the red. We had no corporate sponsors. We had no backing. We were running on our houses. It was hard. You know what I mean? Payroll and all that. We were making good money. Hey, I made $250,000 in 5 years that I was there, working weekends, and all my expenses paid. My flight and hotel. Only thing I paid for was food. And I made $250,000 in 5 years. That's fucking crazy. We were doing good, but no corporate sponsors, so we were struggling. We were always in the red. You know what I mean? We were making $10 million a year, but we were spending 11. You know what I mean? And we were getting the hoe, and since Vince got turned on to ECW by Shane, he said, "Dad, this is something. It's a product that people are loving it." You know what I mean? So he says, it's violence, nothing like us. We're family entertainment. Like I said, Vince wants the doctor's wife, and his 2 kids at ringside. He doesn't want audience from the age of 18 to 31, all male, 90% male. But it
He was
worked.
still going for the PG or the
Exactly.
PG audience.
Vince took the word wrestling out of his, his worldwide
that was
wrestling federation. Now it's
wrestling.
now it's worldwide entertainment. You know what I mean?
Right.
So he did not. So, but Vince gave us $1 million. Or will lend us $1 million to keep going. And end up buying us out.
Yeah, that I wanted to ask you, how come you weren't a part of that? When Paulie went in WCW and
Well, there was
ECW
only so
came
many
together.
jobs. There was, they were loaded already, and Vince could hire everybody. But again, Vince said, "Fonzie, we love your gimmick, but unfortunately, right now, our budget and all this, but we're going to use you as time goes by." And they did end up using me in different events and stuff like that. But I was okay with that. I was still going back and forth to Japan. Tokyo is one of my favorite cities. I love Tokyo. Fucking the daytime, there's 12 million people and fucking running around like ants, and it's so efficient and so clean and beautiful. I mean, the buildings were feet apart. There's a 80-story high fucking building right next to it. 20 feet away is another fucking building. It's amazing. And then at night, everybody after work jumps on the bullet train and goes out into the suburbs and stuff. And there's only 7 million people at nighttime. But I like hanging out in Roppongi, because that's like a suburb of Tokyo, and that's where the Hard Rock Cafe was, and that's where any international people would go. So we'd meet people from England and all through Europe and United States, models, supermodels and shit. I met Carol Alt there. Ended up doing with Carol. She was on the pilot for Thunder in Paradise.
Right. So were you.
Oh, of course I was, Daddy. I was
Playing
out there playing
volleyball.
volleyball, because they wanted the giant. They wanted the giant to be on the pilot. Where he's a bad guy, and they got him in jail,
Right.
transferring him from court to a fucking prison, and then he escapes from the fucking truck. It was pretty fucking cool. But I was in it. I wasn't actually in the movie, no speaking parts, but In the pilot, there's a scene where, Hogan and Chris um uh, was talking at the beach and talking about their day, and there was in the background there's a volleyball game going on the beach, and I was one of the volleyball guys playing volleyball.
I love that picture that you showed before with you, Hogan, and the Giant side by side. From
Oh, the tallest athlete on the planet. I got the picture right here handy. I'm gonna show it to you again. Let me show you the tallest like I'm not short at all. I'm 5'10".
Right.
I'm average size. Hogan's not short at all. He's 6 something. Look how the Giant dwarfs everybody.
Goodness,
Brother, he was actually a giant.
he was.
The hormones don't tell him when to stop growing. He grew, and his jaw and stuff started protruding way after, you know what I mean, a little bit, but he ended up dying young. Like Andre the Giant died at the age of 43, and my Giant, Gonzalez, died at the age of 47, I think it was. So the Giants don't have a long lifespan.
Right.
And he knew that. He said, Fonzie, I'm going to die young like Andre. You know what I mean? It was sad to hear him say that, but it was true. So we enjoyed life, man. You want me to tell you a story about a blonde and the Giant?
I thought you were going to say Missy Hyatt, but yeah.
No, I got a story about Missy Hyatt. Me and Missy were at Judge Mathis.
Judge Mathis.
Yeah, check that episode out. It was pretty funny.
I did.
All right. So, I'm the Giants' personal assistant, right? And it's ordinary for me to get a phone call at 2 o'clock in the morning after the show's done. We go back to the Marriott, and I get my own room, and he gets his own room. So it's ordinary for my phone to ring, a couple of times a week. Say, hey, Fonzie, would you mind going to the Waffle House? I mean, fuck, the Waffle House. They open 24 hours to get breakfast. So it's ordinary for him to say, call me up at 3 o'clock in the morning and says, hey, Fonzie, can you go get me a dozen scrambled eggs, 20 strips of bacon, toast, 2 hash browns? I said, no problem, Giant. I was thrilled to go get him. I never got tired of him doing the special request at 3 o'clock in the morning. People say, didn't you hate that, getting up out of your bed and going to get the... I said, are you fucking crazy? I'm a personal assistant for the largest athlete on the planet. I'm having a fucking great time. Are you kidding me? It was my job, and I love doing it. And we end up being best friends. And when he went back to Argentina, we would talk once or twice a week. But anyway... So my phone rings. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. So the Giant says, hey, Fonzie, what are you doing? I said, I'm sleeping, Giant. He says, hey, would you mind coming to my room? I'm right next door. He's in 501 and I'm 502. So I go knock on his door. He opens the door. There he is, 8-foot Giant, naked as a jaybird. I said, Giant, what are you doing answering the front door with your fucking no clothes on? I see him naked before. In the dressing room, we get showers and all that. So I said, Giant, I'm working. I said, Giant, why are you naked? He says, well, I got a problem, Fonzie. I said, what's the problem? So he opens the door a little more, and there's this fucking beautiful blonde girl. She looked like Pamela Anderson. In the bed naked as a jaybird. Now I'm getting a little embarrassed. There's a beautiful girl naked. There's a Giant naked. I'm at the front door talking to the Giant, and the girl's waving at me. I said, well, what's the problem, Giant? Okay. Yes. Just knocked on my window. No, that was me. I was knocking on the door. Oh, I was knocking on the door, pretending it was a Giant. My girlfriend freaked out. She thought someone was knocking on the window. God bless. I'm sorry, babe. I'm sorry, sweetheart. So I said, Giant, what's the problem? He says, well, here's the problem, Fonzie. He said, he's big. He's proportioned really well. So he had a big rod. His fucking slong was fat, right? And long. Right. He says, look, Fonzie, I can't get my dick inside the girl's pussy. Now I'm embarrassed as fuck. He's talking like this. There's a girl naked. Beautiful girl. I mean, I thought she was Pamela Anderson for a second. She looked just like her. Nice tits, fucking blonde, beautiful, blue eyes, all that shit. And she's nodding her head. Yeah, he can't get his dick inside my pussy. I said, well, what do you want me to do, Giant? He says, well, Giant, well, Fonzie, I want you to fuck her for about 15 minutes and get a pussy nice and wet. Then you leave, and then I can finish my thing. And the girl saying, I said, oh, I can't do that. The girl says, please, Fonzie, could you fuck me? He's begging me to fuck. I'm embarrassed, and now the girl's waving me over. Come on, Fonzie. She's grabbing my dick now, and I end up fucking her. That's my job. Can you imagine my job description was fuck the Giant's girl because the pussy's too tight and his dick's so fat he can't get it in. So my job is to loosen her up, and then I loosened her up, and then I left. So I love that story.
That's a great story.
What a great story, right?
Yeah.
And the girl was all into it. Oh, come, please, Fonzie, please come and help me. I want to fuck Giant. His dick's so fat I can't get it inside me. I said, okay, if I have to. So I enjoyed myself banging the girl for about 15 minutes. It's pretty fucking daddy. So that's a great story, man. That's a true story. True story. So it was amazing what that Giant and got paid for it. I would have paid Vince to be his personal assistant,
I wish we could have seen him in ECW.
I know it, man. God bless him. He would have been amazing. He was limited. He wasn't a great worker because his knees were already burned out a little bit from playing European basketball. Plus his bones were messing up. Plus he had the Giant's disease, and he was on all kind of medicine to slow all that down. But he knew. He told me all the time, Fonzie, I'm going to die pretty soon. It was sad to hear that.
Yeah,
and he ended up passing away at 47 years old, young, from the Giant's disease, man.
Another Giant I want to mention on real quick before I want to get to Rob Van Dam and Sabu.
Okay.
But Mike Awesome, he was one of my favorite guys.
Well, he lived in Tampa, and both of our last names are Alfonso. But
they thought
he was Mike Alfonso, and I'm William Alfonso, and
they thought you two were brothers.
Yeah. One of my first or second trips to Japan, he spent most of his career in Japan.
Right.
He had an awesome career in Japan because they like the big guys, plus he could work his ass off. So I went to Japan, and I'm in my hotel room at the Kyo Plaza. That's where all the, they put us all the American guys, Kyo Plaza, big, beautiful hotel like the Marriott. And so I'm in after the matches, I'm in my room. He's working for a different company. I go in for Giant Baba, whoever I'm working for. And Mike was working for like some company like Oneida or something. He had been working for multiple companies, but so I never met him. I didn't know who the fuck Mike Awesome was. He spent his whole career in Japan, until he came here. So my phone rings, and he made it a point to call me. Because he's a nice guy. Plus, we're Alfonsos, and plus he wanted to meet me, and I didn't know all this. So my phone rings this late at night, and he said, "Hey, Fonzie, this is Mike Awesome." I said, "Who?" He said, "Mike Awesome, one of the boys. I'm here in Japan." He says, "I know you're here for Baba and all that." He says, "I just want to see if you want to smoke a joint or something, and if I can do anything for you, don't hesitate to call me. I'm here for 12 more weeks before I go home." And he said, "I live in town." I said, "Me too, Daddy." So we became friends that night. And and then he ended up coming to ECW and becoming a big star, and was wrestling Tanaka and all that.
Great matches. Those chair shots. Oh my God.
He used to throw Tanaka over the top rope and hold him up like some type of, my God, they were killing each other. But what a great guy, man. I couldn't believe. Here's my theory on why he killed himself. You want to hear it?
Sure.
Okay, so we became friends, and then, we both lived in Tampa, and he had been in Japan all those years, so he spent a lot of time. So he didn't have even though he lived in Tampa, he didn't have any Pakalolo connections, the smoke. We call it Pakalolo. That's a Samoan name for Pakalolo. So he didn't have Pakalolo connections too much in Tampa where we live. And he said, "Fonzie, you think you can give me some weed? And just so happened one of my neighbors is a fucking major fucking drug dealer, not drug dealer, so pot. And I said, yeah, my fucking neighbors have good pot all the time. I said, what are you going? He said, oh, give me an ounce, please. Well, I'll take care of you. So I went, say whatever the ounce was, 200. I gave it to him for 200. And he'd always try to get pot. And I said, no, Mike, you're paying big money for the pot. This is yours. Don't worry. I'm happy to help you out. So he's a big pot smoker. So later on, he goes on tour in Europe. He's on a European tour with Jeff Jarrett and all them guys who were making those European tours. And the whole time they were there for like 6 weeks or something, he was doing ecstasy. They turned him on to ecstasy. And they were doing it every night, every day, every night, every day, every night, every day. They were doing ecstasy. So he did about 2 or 3 tours in Europe, but he kept getting this fucking ecstasy and loved it. So when he came home, I didn't have an nexus for ecstasy. I'm a pot smoker and nothing else, And you got to be careful because a lot of it's bootleg made in somebody's fucking basement. But
right,
I got him the good shit. So eventually, I couldn't get any more, and he was struggling, having mental problems coming off the ecstasy. He couldn't find it, so I think it fucked with his mind so much that he ended up killing himself. He hung himself.
That's so tragic.
I know it, brother. And I think that's indirectly related to the ecstasy because he couldn't get it, and his mind, some type of mind control drug,
Right.
like an acid or whatever. I tried it one time. I didn't like it at all.
It fucks with the chemical imbalances in your brain.
Exactly. And it fucked with him so much, he ended up killing himself. I don't know if it was directly related, but that's my theory on why he killed himself. Because look, he had a home paid for, a beautiful home paid for. He had a beautiful wife, he had a beautiful baby, but he just got strung out on that fucking drug and couldn't come back to reality and ended up killing himself. It was sad. Shocked the wrestling world. Why would Awesome kill himself? Maybe we thought he might have cancer or something, but they did a thorough autopsy, no problem. But they couldn't go into his brain and see, So it was terrible loss, and a hell of a nice guy. And he was another giant. You're right. You're exactly right, brother. And I love Mike Awesome.
Buddy of mine named Matt wanted to ask you if you had a good road story from Rob Van Dam and Sabu.
Hundreds of road stories.
I figured you would. Can't hear you. Still can't hear you.
Hey, Daddy.
Now I can hear you.
All right, baby. We're pulling through. Hey, don't even edit this part. You know what I mean? So we go out, and that's cool. We're raw. You know what I mean? So leave one of these things in there. We're struggling to get back on because for the people, Daddy, we love it. We love the business just like everybody listening. I hope I'm entertaining you guys with these stories and stuff, man.
Oh, definitely.
I can talk all night long. My girlfriend says I talk too much because she's non-wrestling. It's not that she doesn't like wrestling. She's not familiar with it. And I come home and I'm all hyped up telling her these stories. And she says, Fonzie, can you shut the fuck up, But all good. I bore her to death telling the road stories. I try to get her to come to the shows and stuff. She comes to a couple of them here and there, but, she's sophisticated, beautiful, tall. She's a nurse. She's educated, and she does not get wrestling,
All right. Still supportive, though.
Oh, yeah, very supportive. I love her to death. That's my girl, I'd marry her tomorrow if she'd marry me, but, we're doing really good just living together. We had a nice villa, lived nice, and, She works part time. I work on weekends, so we just have a fantastic time. She's tall. She's tall, man. Beautiful, light skin, blonde hair. Beautiful girl. I don't know what the fuck she's doing with me.
Well, you always got the women coming after you.
I've been lucky. The fat blonde girls love me. I get more fat blondes chasing me around the country than any person I know.
I watched the Judge Mathis today.
Oh,
You
good.
and Missy. I watched that, and that was great right there. You looked helpless because you could tell the judge and the bailiff, who probably should have been a pro wrestler.
Yeah, Rusty was his name, the redheaded guy. They both were in love with Missy. The judge called me over, gave me his business card. He said, "Hey, have her call me after the show tonight. I'll take her out to dinner." He's married and all that shit, but Missy didn't want to do that. But and you know how after the court case they find me guilty and all that, then on the way
I
out
loved it.
they stop.
Yeah.
They stop you at the at the fucking door and say, "Hey, do you have any comments? What do you think about the case? What do you think about their verdict?" I said, "Hey, it was one-sided, Daddy. They liked Missy High. You know why? Because she had two big assets that I don't have. That's why she won the case. And they aired that. It was pretty cool. So the judge loved our episode. He loved us. He said our was one of the top 10 episodes in the history of Judge Mathis that he personally liked a lot.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah, and it was good for business, and the fans asked me about it, and of course it got me more bookings and shit.
My friend David wanted me to ask you what you thought about the WWE's recreation of ECW.
I thought it was watered down, but Vince has this multi-billion-dollar fucking company. He wants to get out of the old wrestling game. He prefers you not even fucking throw a punch. You know what I mean? But ECW was watered down. It was his secondary thing. He really didn't care if it made it or not. His concentration was on, his WWE and stuff. But he gave it a shot, and it did work for a while. But, he's making more money by not putting it on, selling the DVDs and rehashing it every now and then. But
I was going to say, it's one of them things that looks good on paper.
yes.
But,
yeah.
The first one night stand, and you were there. I remember you and RVD got a huge pop.
Well, RVD was the whole effing show for real.
He was injured.
Yes.
And wasn't able to take part of it, but he still took he still gave a Van Daminator.
Yep. Very cool. Van Dam's one tough kid.
How long did he hold that TV title for, Fonz?
2 years, 3 months, 21 days, 6 hours, and 42 seconds.
Yes.
Hell yeah. We just we released a documentary at the ECW Arena. He wanted to see it with the fans, so he hadn't watched it yet. He got it like 3 days prior, and flew out. He lives in Las Vegas. Flew out, and I flew out, and I had to. We all met up and did the fan fest. It was just me, Van Dam, Sandman came, and Blue Meanie. And we all watched it together with, several hundred wrestling fans. It was pretty damn cool,
Yeah. A buddy of mine also wanted me to ask you about the video games for some reason. He wanted me to ask you about the ECW video games. Did you ever do any voiceover work for those?
I did some voiceover work, and it was bad timing because you go into the studio and you go, oof, oh, you're killing me. My voice and stuff like that. They had about 25 things for me to say. So they took all the pictures of me for the video game. They took all the audio and stuff, but unfortunately, the company folded and Vince bought us out during that process. So I missed the video game. I might be on the. Oh, I am on a couple. I am on the game. Let's see. Let me pull it up right now. I got it right.
I think you're on Anarchy Rules.
Yeah, I got one of the games unopened. Unopened. People have tried to buy it from me because it's unopened. You know, here it is right here, Daddy. Here it is, baby. Yep. Let me see what is the name of this thing. I got all kind of cool shit like this. Oh, I'm gonna show you some magazines in a second. Let's see. Okay. Yep, it's hardcore revolution. Here's the video game. It's unopened in the box.
Cool.
Is that the one you were thinking of?
Yeah, that's it.
And there's a pamphlet, and I am on. Let's see. Where am I at? Oh, there I am, Daddy.
Yeah.
Yep. So I did the voiceovers for that. You know. That was pretty cool. Yeah. So
speaking of magazines, you were 1997 PWI Manager of the Year, correct?
Oh yeah, that was very flattering, and thank you, Mr. Magazine guys. And you know, I was competing against Jim Cornette, Jimmy Hart. They were working for the big companies, WCW and WWF, and here I am putting along this little company trying to make it ECW, and they give the award, the prestigious award, to me. You know, when competing against all those guys, and they're all my friends too, you know. But I guess my character was well liked, and yeah. So they chose me out of everybody, all the managers, and I was thrilled to get that.
Wow. And I remember the ECW magazine. It was kind of short lived, but
yeah. But that was a major magazine, you know, when they were doing all the Wrestler of the Year and all that. But I've been in so many magazines and covers. Here, let me show you this magazine in Japan. I'm refereeing with the tallest athlete on the planet, my guy, Giant Gonzalez.
Oh, wow.
That's the cover. This is their version of the Sports Illustrated, the baseball magazine. I'm on the cover, Daddy. You know, because what a cool picture. I got my shirt on with the flag, American and Japanese. My hair not out of place. Got it trimmed up, beautiful. All designer clothes. You know, appearance, presentations, everything. You know,
right.
You know, if I bring my girlfriend some flowers, I'll bring it in a vase. I'll bring some, you know, presentations, everything. If I just say here, if I brought you a T-shirt, if I go to Japan, you say, Fonzie, bring me a T-shirt. Now, if I buy a T-shirt for you, throw it in a plastic bag and just give you the bag. Okay, it's another T-shirt. But if I bring that same T-shirt in a box, folded up, beautiful, with a little note on it, presentation, and you open it, there's a white paper, and then, you know, you open it, that's a different story. You say, damn, how nice, you know what I mean? Instead of getting in a fucking bag, you know? Presentations, everything, in every form, everything you do, presentation. Like the way you present your podcast, the way you got the background, the way I got my office all set up for you with all the gimmicks all around. Presentations, everything, Daddy. The way you dress, the way you talk, everything. But remember that, kid. You do a great job at it. You know, I'm proud of you, and I'm very happy for you. That you're successful in what you do.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, man.
If you don't mind, if I could ask you one more thing.
Yeah, ask me 100 things, Daddy. I'm your boy.
Have you ever heard of E-Fed wrestling?
What is it?
The E-Fed wrestling, where people would promo against each other. They don't actually have matches, but they do video promos.
Now, is it wrestling fans or the wrestlers too, or anybody?
Wrestling fans. Well, sometimes the wrestlers come and they'll do spots.
Yeah.
Like I'm for a group called iWrestling, and one of the guys that does promos for us, his name's Rocky T. He owns Future Stars of Wrestling in Las Vegas.
Wow.
So every now and then, like we've had Jake the Snake come in once. Disco Inferno came in, John Morrison.
Nice.
But it's mainly for guys that want to be wrestlers but never could be wrestlers, so they get a chance to promo on there.
I do promos at, like, I'm doing a convention this Saturday and Sunday in Jacksonville, Florida. It's called River City Wrestling Fan Fest. It's 2 days. They're expecting a couple thousand people, and there's like 55 wrestlers that are going to be there doing autograph stuff. So I set up a booth with all my stuff, all my gimmicks, a whistle, nice pictures all framed up, beautiful presentations, everything. You know that, Daddy, man. And I do promos too. I get to say, hey, you got people want to take a picture. I say, yeah, put it on video. Let's do a promo. And then I'll ask him his name, and he'll say Johnny. I say, hey, Daddy, it's me and Johnny. We're winners. He's a winner just like me, baby. We're here live in Jacksonville, Florida, September 22nd. We do a promo, and then he'll do a promo with me. They love that. They love doing promos.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, especially with, I'm acting like their manager, for a minute, and it's pretty very successful. So, and I like doing it. I'm really good at it too. So
I actually did one. I did one for the. I got to mention the ECW Forever fan page, and thank you again to Doug.
Yeah, that's my company.
Yeah,
and I'm really involved in it. I'm partners to a certain degree with Doug.
I put out a promo for the contest. So I don't know if you got to see it yet, but
I won't see it. I'll see Doug in 2 weeks. I'm coming up to do that big fan fest in Hamburg, Pennsylvania. So we're gonna set up a booth. We're gonna have a foreverfan.club booth with the camera set up and shit. And we're gonna do all promos. It'll be really good, and we're gonna do another first prize and all that. So I'll see it when I go up there because I review all the stuff.
It's a lot of fun. We have a lot of fun. We have a lot of fun, and that's what the group that I'm in. It's just about fun doing promos, and you get some groups you get judged on the promos, and some are predetermined or I don't want to use the F word
or something. Yeah, that's great, man. That's great. Hey, beautiful. Oh, my girlfriend's said we've been on an hour and a half. I said, don't wrap me up, Daddy. I'm just getting started. Don't wrap Bill Alfonso. I can talk
all we have.
So
don't give us another half hour.
yeah. Hey, I hope you're happy and me telling the stories and stuff.
I love it, Bill.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good. Hell yeah, Daddy. Good.
Yeah, and I want to genuinely thank you. You made my night, and you made this podcast, and I couldn't ask for anything more.
Hey, what I'm doing is testifying and telling the truth. It's easy when you just tell the truth. You know what I mean?
Exactly. I don't know why more people don't get that.
If I said any lies, it's by accident. I just don't remember or something. But I remember pretty much the details and everything I'm telling you about the giant and the girl, about fucking about everyone getting shot. I didn't tell you about the almost plane crash with me, superstar Billy Graham, Kevin Sullivan, Sir Oliver Humperdinck, and Ron Bass almost bit the dust in a plane. I'll tell you the short story. So on Wednesday, this is Florida Championship Wrestling. On Wednesday, we would tape TV in the morning, 2 hours worth of TV, and sometimes I could take 4 hours and get 2 hours, So then after the TV taping, we got to drive our ass to Miami. It's a fucking 290-mile trip from Tampa to Miami every Wednesday. So you're dragging ass on Wednesdays because you do TV every Wednesday, then you drive to Miami, you do the show, then drive back. So we're dragging our ass. So now, as a referee, I would drive every show. And the main events like Dusty and all these superstars, they would get a plane, twin-engine plane, and have them fly down and fly right back, So once in a while, there was an open seat, and they would ask me, hey, Fonzie, you want to fly with us? We're charging you $50, but everybody else is paying $200. But you can pay $50 as you're on the small end of the scale. I said, okay, thank you. So it's me, superstar Billy Graham, Kevin Sullivan, Oliver Humperdinck, and Ron Bass. And we're overweight already. With everybody's fucking 270 pounds plus. Kevin Sullivan was huge. Oliver Humperdinck, big. All the guys were freaking big. Superstar Billy Graham, big. Of course, I was the smallest one. So we get in a plane and we get ready to take off, and the engine starts sputtering. So we don't take off. We go back to the hangar, and he does something to the motor and says, okay, I got it ready. So we take off again. Everything looks good. But as we get up, over, down, the most important part of plane ride is the most dangerous part is the takeoff. Because if you fuck up when you're landing, you can glide in. But when you're leaving the fucking ground, you're at an angle trying to shoot straight up. You know what I mean? Very important. So as we were taking off, we're 500 or 600, 700 feet or whatever it was. We were waiting to fuck up there. One of the engines starts sputtering. Every time it sputtered, the plane would turn sideways for a couple of seconds, and the motor would come back on and straighten up. So it did it like 3 times, and it scared the fuck out of everybody because fucking turned completely sideways. Everybody's leaning on each other. I said, my God. So the pilot calls to the tower, says, Flight 774, emergency landing, mayday, mayday. I said, oh, fuck. We're in trouble now, Daddy. So he's trying to do the bank and turn around and go back to the plane crash, go back to the airport. And we'd go over another 15, 20 seconds, and the motor would cut out again. And the plane completely would turn on its side because we were overweight to begin with. So, man, it happened so many times. We were everywhere. Superstar Billy Graham was praying, oh, my God, please, Lord, don't let me die. Oliver Humperdinck turned white as a ghost. He didn't say a fucking word. Kevin Sullivan was talking real fast. And Fonzie, I was just watching all this shit. I was fucking shocked, I guess. So, so the plane would go for a few seconds and the motor would turn off, come back on, turn off, come back on. We were fucking shitting brakes. So we were approaching the airport. We can see the airport now. There's fire trucks and fucking ambulance lined up against there ready for us to crash. So, fuck, please, Lord, let us make it in. Let us make it in. And as soon as we land, we bounce a couple of times, and the freaking motor goes out completely. We would have been another 2 minutes or something. We would have been dead. The plane crash. We'd have had a plane crash. So we all got out of the plane, and we kissed the ground. Oh, hallelujah. We were so happy to be on ground. My God, like a near-death experience. So I said, we're never going to get on that plane again. That plane's old to begin with, much less fucking, the motor's old and shit. So 2 weeks go by, the guy calls up and says, hey, I got the plane fixed. It was something wrong with the carburetor or something. We jumped back on a plane and kept flying it.
Wow.
But crazy, almost a plane crash, brother. Fucking, see our
That was almost.
Our life was flashing before our eyes.
I bet so.
Yeah.
That reminds me of the Ric Flair plane crash kind of.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Where they lost.
Not many people survive a plane crash.
Right. Right. Who was that who died in there? Was it Buddy Cole?
Oh, I can't think of it. I can't think of his name.
Buddy Cole. Damn, I don't know. Who was in it? But Ric Flair got pinned in there. Everybody got fucked up.
Greg the Hammer Valentine's dad.
Yeah, Johnny Valentine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never forgot who died. It wasn't. Damn it. We'll think of it before we wrap it up. But Austin Idol.
Austin Idol.
Austin Idol was in the car. Did he get killed or no? Oh, Bobby Shane. Bobby
Bobby
Shane was
Stanley.
the one who got pinned in there, like when they crashed, some type of rod went through his leg and he couldn't get out. He ended up dying. He drowned because it was right over the water and he crashed in the water.
Jeez.
Bobby Shane, yep. He had a valet named Sherry. That was his wife for real.
Not Sherry Martell, huh?
Uh,
The women in ECW, I gotta tell you, I was about 13 or 14 when I first saw ECW. So I just hit. I'm not scared to say it. I just hit puberty. So yeah. I'm watching women like Tammy Sitch and
it was fucking beautiful. Tammy was freaking beautiful back then.
And they made my teenage years so great.
Oh yeah, Francine, Dawn Marie, fucking Jazz was looking good, nice. Man, I used to see these girls get dressed. They would, in the dressing room, they would cover up the best they can, but it was very unusual for one of the girls to come out, on all her sexy shit. Crazy.
You worked with Francine, right, on women's extreme wrestling?
I worked against Beulah. I had to mess with Beulah.
Oh, well, yeah, I remember that. That'd be a good way to close this out.
All right.
If you want to tell us about that, because
hell yeah.
So, I really want to know. What I really want to know is everybody knows the story, but I want to know how you were feeling in that match whenever you first got busted open. I remember seeing you look down and you was holding your hand there. Did you realize at first that you was juicing that much?
No, at first, well, it couldn't happen better because we wouldn't be talking about that match today if it wasn't for the blood. So thank God I almost bled out, So she hits me with that fucking tin sheet, that cooking sheet, and hits me perfect right over the eye, man, and I get busted wide fucking open. My God.
Yeah.
Couldn't
right
happen.
off the bat.
It was like a boxer's cut. The boxers bleed like hell over their, they get split open. It was a perfect fucking cut, man. And it happened at the beginning of the match. Say the match was 7 minutes and 20 seconds. It happened like not even a minute into the match where I did something and she put out the tin sheet and smacked the fuck out of me. And I started bleeding. And I could tell by Beulah's face, she was, oh my God, Fonzie, you okay? And it was a deep, wide cut, not too long, maybe a couple inches long, but it was just wide. So I was bleeding really good, and then I felt a little woozy during the match. So when the match is over and everybody loved it, the fans liked it, I put Beulah over. And I get back to the dressing room, and the paramedics were there, and they could not stop the bleeding. So they had to get some type of cold piece of steel. I don't know if it was in their medical bags or what, and wrap my head up real good and rush me to the hospital in an ambulance. Fuck. Because head trauma, you trump everybody else. You're priority with head trauma.
Right.
So I get into the hospital, and then I'm in there with the nurse, and she's starting to take my tape off the head with a cold steel compressed against my head is the only way they can slow the bleeding down. I told the nurse, I said, hey, ma'am, if I were you, I wouldn't untape that because I'm bleeding pretty good. She says, son, don't tell me how to do my job. I've been a nurse for 27 years. I said, okay. So she undoes the thing. As soon as she takes the last wrap off, blood shoots out like a freaking water pistol, shoots all over her face, all over her white outfit and shit. She was pissed. And then the doctors come in and shit, and they analyze me looking at my fucking cut. And they said, well, we're going to have to put, on the inside, we're going to have to put, stitches, and then the outside stitches, and we're going to staple you up. And then I'm starting to feel a little woozy because this takes about 45 minutes for them to do all that shit to me. and now I get a little bit hungry, and so I was hungry, I didn't eat, so they brought I was fading out, I was going unconscious, and they were bringing the jumper cables out. You know those things they shot you to bring you back to life. I said, "Hey, what are those for, Doc?" He said, "Just in case we need them." I said, "Oh boy." So, but they fixed me up. They gave me some blood, and it was pretty cool to bleed out like that, and it made the match.
Oh yeah.
It's just been an ordinary man versus woman. If it wasn't for the blood, we would be talking about it today, 25 years later. You know.
I think Beulah was quoted as saying there was so much blood that her shoes squished.
Yeah.
Whenever she walked back to the dressing room.
It was pretty cool. Thank God I hit an artery, you know, or whatever the fuck was in my head that made me bleed so much, because that actually made the match. Like again, I said, if it wasn't for the blood, we would not be talking about it today.
Do you still have the shirt?
No, it got ripped up. And I think
they cut it off of you at the hospital.
So saturated with blood. I wish I had that shirt. I wish I had it. You know. But I've given a lot of stuff away. I've sold some stuff. But I'm, always developing new things like my whistle and all these shirts that I got. Like, this is the shirts I'm currently wearing right now.
Yeah.
So after I wear these, I'll sell them off for $100. It costs $100 to make them. To buy the shirt, a nice shirt, and the embroideries. $40, the hat, and all that shit. So people like them, and I sell them. Here's a red one. I work for a company in South Florida called CCW, Coastal Wrestling. Yeah, they're really good. I just was with them this past weekend. They had about 800 or 900 people at the show in Hialeah. It was pretty cool. Hey, what I do have, we were talking about the invasion of Monday Night Raw.
Yeah.
And I was with Jerry Lawler, and he came to the ECW arena. And check this out. That's the hat I wore. I still got it. And it's documented. I got pictures, and you can look at any of that footage.
Wow.
I'm wearing this hat right here. I was offered $500 for it. I should have sold that motherfucker. Now I can't find the guy who offered me $500 for it because it's documented,
Yeah.
And it's just a simple Raw hat. It's a simple Raw hat, but it's from
what's behind the hat.
From 1993. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
you were on the first Raw.
Yeah.
The Marty Jannetty beating Shawn Michaels.
Oh yeah, I was on the first Monday Night Raw ever. And it was, I don't know if that was the first Monday Night Raw when Jannetty beat Shawn Michaels. That might have been the second or third one, but I was actually on the first one. I was on the first one for sure. And that's something to talk about. You know what I mean? That's 30-something years ago, however time it was, So that's pretty cool to be on the first Monday Night Raw and it's still going, So that's pretty cool. I got a great background, man. I've done a lot of shit, a lot of different matches, a lot of different companies, well liked by the boys and fans, So.
You corresponded with Owen Hart.
Oh yeah, fuck.
One of the greatest ribbers ever.
Yes.
Did you ever get ribbed by anybody really good?
No, a little bit, but I try to stay away from the ribs. You know what I mean? Because they were taking your car and taking all 4 tires off your car in the parking lot. You know what I mean? Right. Shit like that. Those were beyond me. I didn't want to get into that shit because I'm on low on the totem pole. I can't rib with Flair and all them guys. You know what I mean? I can small rib.
Kurt Hennig was supposed to be a great ribber. Kurt Hennig.
Yes. Yep. Kurt Hennig. God bless him. I was with him the night he died. He died in Tampa.
Oh, jeez.
Yep, he died in Tampa. We dropped him off at the hotel, and then we were supposed to pick him up the next morning. When we banged down the door, it was all locked up. You know what I mean? With the bolt inside, that from the inside. So we called the people, and they came and opened up, and we found him dead.
That's awful.
Yeah,
I remember he and then it wasn't too long before or after Rick Rude.
Rick Rude. Well, me and Paul Heyman went to his funeral in Atlanta, and Rick was a dear friend of mine, and I asked him if I asked his wife if I could put a joint in his pocket in his casket, and she said, "Of course." So I'll put a joint in his pocket, top pocket.
Wow.
Yeah, God bless him. He died overdose. Fuck, man. We lost over 60 or 70 wrestlers from fucking accidental overdoses. I still got my Louis stuff from fucking the early 90s when I bought it to look sharp in WWF. I was making good money, so, I had to dress the part. You know what I mean?
Hell yeah.
Yeah. This is a pretty cool picture. Can you see that okay?
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
That's nice.
That's one of my best-selling pictures there. Here's me and Taz. Some dope-ass pictures. Hey, don't forget to send me your address.
Got a good gimmick.
Well, whistles out to you right away. I'll get them out tomorrow for you.
Sure will.
Yeah. That address, I'll get them out tomorrow. I promise. I'll package them up tonight and send them out tomorrow.
How come Rob Van Dam was never ECW World Champion?
Didn't have to be. He was the ECW TV champ. Didn't have to be. They gave it to somebody else.
He kind of made the TV title even more valuable than the world title.
More prestigious. Yeah, he didn't need any titles, but the TV title was perfect. TV title was perfect for him. So why he wasn't a champion? I think he did held the belt for a minute, didn't he?
In the WWE version.
Okay. Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. Well, he didn't need to be champ. You know what I mean? He use them for other reasons. Hey, I'll send you a couple of these too. These are ECW photos. Nobody has these. They're like little photos you can put pictures in and shit. You know what I mean?
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, nobody's got those but me. I got a whole stack of them, Daddy, and I'll send you one. That's all I got left. That's all known to mankind. Nobody's got these. They're all gone. I got them 30 years later. I still got them. Here's a box of whistles, Daddy. I'm going to send you a couple.
Hell yeah, I appreciate that.
I just ordered 1,000 of them. They're selling really good. I'm getting ready to put them on foreverfan.club. You can buy your whistle there. I'm getting ready to do some promos and stuff on my social media, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Let me show you a poster. We lost New Jack, right? Damn it, New Jack. So WrestleMania weekend. This is our last thing we're wrapping up. My wife has given me she's not my wife, but I wish she was. We live together. She's beautiful, tall, blonde. I wish she'd marry me, but she won't, But anyway, WrestleMania weekend, you know how we do shows for the whole week before WrestleMania. There's all kind of events and signings and little festivals and all kind of shit, wrestling shows. So I was on a show, 2 shows, April 9th and April 10th. WrestleMania weekend in Florida, in Tampa Bay. Look who's on the card. Sergeant Slaughter. It was an autograph function.
Wow.
It was packed. So
is that Demolition?
Yep.
And the Nasty Boys?
Yep.
Wow.
Tony Atlas, Virgil, Kevin Sullivan, one of the referees, J.J. Dillon, James Ellsworth, Terry Reynolds, Andrew Anderson, Gilbert, Gangrel, Bushwhacker. There's my boy New Jack.
New Jack, yeah.
Passed away like a week after this event. There Bill Alfonso, Barry Horowitz, the Headbangers. So that's quite a gathering of people.
That's quite a show right there.
Yeah. So I was with New Jack for those 2 days. We went out and had a great lunch and all that. And then I was on a plane going to, I think it was Cleveland or somewhere. I was on a plane. So as soon as I landed, I turned my phone back on. And my phone had like 25 messages on there. Oh, New Jack passed away. I said, fuck, we lost another one, man. Damn. And I was just with him, so I got to spend a few minutes with him before he died. God bless him, New Jack.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
You remember these?
Oh yeah, the action figures. Yep.
And I have the RVD one too. I don't have them in the package, but
Yeah, I wish you did have them in the package. I miss those too, man. They took all the photos. Like um I missed that by days. You know, the company Vince bought us out and stopped all production. You know what I mean? About everything. Say so. Hey, I'm putting your 2 whistles aside, Daddy. Let's see. I got the envelopes to send them out too. Let's see. All right, I'm gonna send them. I'm gonna priority mail them to you. I'm putting them in your here's your whistles, brother, in the box.
man, I so appreciate it, Fonzie.
And here's your thing, and I'll send you a couple of dope ass pictures. I'll send you a couple pictures. There's your thing, Daddy, coming to you from Fonzie. But you got to do me a favor. You got to advertise them on your social media. Advertise them for me. Hey, give Fonzie's whistle. Go on his, look Fonzie up, and you can go on foreverfan.club and get one. They're $25. You know what I mean? Signed, and I'll send them to you. And
I'll do it for you. Is there anything you want to plug?
Not really. I just want to thank you for having me on your podcast, and I'll be around the country. If you see me at any of the shows or any of these fan fests, you come up to me and tell me you saw me on this podcast, and I'll take a picture with you and talk to you guys. But you got to name the podcast, and you got to name the date. Say, hey, you and Matt tore it up. You guys had a good time on that podcast, Daddy. And
I did. I had a great time.
If you wanted a picture of the Fonz, you know what I mean? Oh, here's one of my favorite pictures, too. Look at Francine with those big-ass beautiful tits tagging me under your feet.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
I used to love when she would come out with that kendo stick.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, man. There's me and Van Dam, television champion.
Yeah.
This is out of Fort Lauderdale. That's CCW. I work for them all the time. I work for them 2 or 3 times a month. We do Nashville. We do all of South Florida. So they're keeping me busy. There's my boy Taz. There's a picture of me beating Beulah's ass.
Yeah. I remember she gave you that knife edge chop, and you swished her around in the turnbuckle, and you kind of lowered her shirt a little bit and gave her the.
Yeah, I was stiff, Daddy. I told her too. I said, "I'm gonna beat your ass, girl," and I did.
Despite all the blood, there was some good wrestling maneuvers in that match.
Yeah, we didn't actually do any professional wrestling stuff. We brawled more. You know what I mean? Like I picked her up. If you see me slam her, it's an oddball slam. You know what I mean? Like we didn't do no monkey flips and arm drags and none of that bullshit. We just had a good old fashioned kind of a street fight.
And then at the very end, that's who they come around.
I like this picture. Me and Sabu looking fucking dope.
Yeah. How is he doing, by the way? I know his
he is struggling, man. He is struggling with Melissa, with the terrible incident that happened to her leg. And his body's not in the greatest shape. Because, you know what I mean? He went through all them tables and all those hardcore things, man, were just devastating on his body. Just fucking devastating, I feel bad for all these young guys. And I tell these young guys now, I said, hey, you guys stress and do the best you can and don't fucking volunteer to be going through all these fucking tables. You're going to be walking with a limp by the time you're fucking 30 years old, man. So I try to guide them in the proper way, but still we want to see them hardcore. People like the hardcore, All right, Daddy. So, hey, we're working on our 2 hours and 15 minutes already.
Yeah,
you're getting your money's worth out of Bill Alfonso today, but
yes, sir.
It's a joy talking and letting me
tell my
stories, man. Can you imagine telling stories and getting paid for it? It's fucking pretty fucking cool, Daddy. As long as you guys are happy, as long as all the wrestling fans and all you people that watch this broadcast are digging it, I want to thank you personally. I want to thank you and you and you and you and you, all you guys for taking us out and support my man. He's badass podcast. He's got a lot of superstars on his stuff, and never lets you down. He works really hard putting his stuff together for you guys, and he gets guests like me.
Yes, sir. Well, Fonzie.
Yes, sir.
I want to thank you, brother.
Oh man, it's been a pleasure. Hey, we got to do part 2 because I didn't say anything about Piper shooting the alligator. I didn't tell you about the time I sucker punched Dusty. I didn't tell you all kind of stuff. So we'll save that for part 2.
Definitely do part 2.
We'll do it in a couple of months. Whenever you feel fit, or feel free, and need to fill a void up, call Fonzie, because I got some pretty cool stories, man.
We'll definitely do a part 2, brother. Thank you so much for being on.
Oh, I didn't tell you about the car wreck when me and Jimmy Hart got in. We got in 2 car wrecks with the same car within half a mile of each other. So some lady.
I'm going to write all this down afterwards.
And remember it. T-boned the fuck out of us. I mean, the fucking bad T-bone. And then the car was barely, we were like a mile from the airport. So I told the cop, I said, hey, can we take the rental car back instead of wait for the record? We got to get to Miami, We don't got time. He said, well, if you think you make it to the airport with your headlights, the radiator was fucking shooting up fucking smoke. The trunk was open, wasn't closed. So I limped on my way to the airport with that car. We were at a red light, and Jimmy Hart got in the back seat. He was revving me. He said, Fonzie, I'm not riding in the front seat with you. I don't want to get in another wreck. So as soon as he said that, I said, hold on, Jimmy, you ain't going to believe this. I'm looking in the mirror. Here comes a guy hauling ass. He hits us from behind, going about 30 miles an hour, pushes us in the middle of a busy intersection, cars slamming our brakes and shit. It was great. So I got some good stories for you on part 2, Daddy.
Hell yeah. Leave him with a cliffhanger.
Hell yeah, Daddy. Thank you so much. Give me that address out so I can get your whistles and that phone.
I'll send it to you right now.
Pictures. I'll send you a couple of pictures too.
I'll send it to you right now, Fonz.
Yeah, Daddy.
Thank you once again.
Yep, my pleasure, Daddy. Thank you. Very flattered being on the #1 podcast in the country, Daddy.
Maybe one day.
Hell yeah, you might.
Maybe after this.
Well, hopefully I can do you some justice and you get good reviews. And thanks again for all you wrestling fans for listening to Fonzie talk and talk smack.
I do believe if it was up to Fonzie, he would have stayed up all night and talked with me. And you know what? I would have listened. I can't say enough about this man, about this podcast, but really more about the man. One of the nicest, most gentle, kind, selfless, honest people that I've ever talked to in the wrestling business. And of all the podcasts that I've done in my 10 years, this was the coup de grace. This was my moment. And it's because of Doug. Thank you, Doug, from ECW Forever Fans Club. Thank you so much. And thank you, Bill Alfonso. I just want to say, there will be another one. You can bet your bottom goddamn dollar on that one, Daddy. My name is Darken Graves. Unholy am I. I'll see you around the bend.